Well, hello, my dear church boys, and welcome to St. Robert's Day Game Pickup Podcast, episode number 33. While most of us, almost all of us, are on a day game break, day game holiday because of what's happening in the world, and we cannot go out and do day game, we cannot talk to cute girls on the streets or in the stores because of everything that's been going on, there are still things you can do. I personally am stuck in a good or bad way, I don't know, in Riga, Latvia. I'm back here. I arrived one day before the panic started in Latvia, and it is pretty much on lockdown, but still, since the lockdown, I've had one new lay. I've been seeing several of my regulars. I've re-engaged with some regulars that I used to see before. So sex still exists. You can still bang chicks. You can still get laid. And as I told you, you can still get new lays. And today's topic is Instagram. We will talk about how to use Instagram to get new leads, or rather how to re-engage with old leads, or how to keep up with existing leads, how to get some dates and get some lays with the help of Instagram. Does it mean I will tell you what DMs to send to random girls you see on Instagram, some Instagram hotties, and how to get them on dates? No, I don't do that. It's not what I like. I like approaching girls in real life. I don't do online game of any sort, whether it's dating apps or Instagram or Facebook or anything else like that. I don't do that, and I will not teach you how to do that. But what I use Instagram for is to keep in touch with the leads that are slow, maybe with girls that I opened and they are in relationships. Maybe it's with girls that I went on a date and nothing happened afterwards, or maybe it's with old regulars, with old leads. All of that. I use Instagram to stay in touch with them, not directly, but they see what's going on in my life. And sometimes you get a random response to a story you posted on Instagram, or you respond to their story randomly. You hit up a conversation, you get them out on a date, and some magic can happen. If you are not on Instagram and only want to install Instagram to get laid, I don't think it's the smartest thing to do in the world. But if you are bored at home while everything that's been going on with everything that's been going on lately, it's a nice thing to do if you like it. But don't set up Instagram just to get laid, because I don't really think it's worth it. But I'll talk about that in the end of this podcast episode. And let's start with a really simple question. Let's say when you day game, you have numbers that you text with. How do you get those girls to follow you on Instagram? Because if you follow them on Instagram, I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer to have a girl follow me first. And I have a really, really simple way I do that. When I'm texting with a girl, you would normally send some pings about your life. So what I do is, when I post a picture on Instagram, and usually it's a picture I could send as a ping as well. Most of my Instagram pictures could be pings. Instead of sending a regular ping to a girl, instead of sending the same picture, I will send a link to the picture I posted on Instagram. That way, she clicks on it, my Instagram profile pops up, and she can see, oh, he's doing this thing. And she will most likely click on your Instagram profile and she will very likely follow you. If she doesn't follow you, I think she's not interested. She's not complying, because sending a girl a link to an Instagram pic is basically a compliance test. Will she follow you or not? And a little thing I also use, you can, regardless of whether you use iPhone or Android, you can look for those applications that show who has unfollowed you, who is following you back, and who isn't. I use that app, and even if I follow a girl that I'm texting with over WhatsApp or whatever, if she doesn't follow me back, I will unfollow her. I will not give attention to girls that don't give me any attention back. I don't follow almost anyone who doesn't follow me back, and I tend to follow people that are close to me, that I spend time with, and that about whose lives I wanna kind of know what's going on. So you have two ways to get girls follow you on Instagram. One is send them the link to a picture as a ping, and the second one is if you see them in people you might know, follow them, and if they follow you back, then boom, you can use that. If not, then well, forget and don't use Instagram game with her. But what do you post on Instagram to get good results, to get girls interested, to text with them, and to get them on dates? There are several ways you can look at this, and we will look at both of them. We will start with typical game approach. What can you post from the perspective of game? And the other is the typical Instagram thing, typical Instagram approach, how you can set up an Instagram profile that kind of shows your life and shows a few things about yourself. And let's start with the game approach. I really like the stuff Mystery wrote. Some of it is really, really good. I've learned some things from Mystery that I hadn't seen anywhere else. For example, I've understood hook point much deeper after reading Mystery method. I never understood hook point as deeply before. And a great thing Mystery wrote is 5 attraction switches, or 5 things that make girls attracted to guys. And you can use those 5 switches in your pictures, in your videos that you post on Instagram, and it's fairly easy to do. If you want to see examples of me using different switches of attraction or any other stuff that I do on Instagram, you can go and check out my Instagram profile. If you are on my mailing list, then in the email with this podcast episode, you received a link to my private Instagram profile. If you aren't in my mailing list, then go to my website, strobert.blog, strobert.blog, and sign up for my mailing list. And in the welcome email, you will get a link to my Instagram, and you can go and see how I use either these 5 attraction switches or other things to build my Instagram profile. And don't get me wrong, this podcast isn't about how to build a great Instagram and how many followers. That's not what I'm into. I'm only into getting leads, getting dates, and getting laid in the context of this podcast. So, 5 attraction switches from Mystery. The first one, leader of men, which means there are other men who follow your lead. If you have pictures of you speaking in front of audience or anything like that, you can definitely do that. You can definitely post them on Instagram. And on my Instagram profile, I have pictures of me actually being with a student on a street, but it's not clear that it's day game. A girl would never know that. I have pictures with me in front of audiences. I have pictures with me recording video courses, teaching guys, being in front of a bunch of people. Like they are all together. I'm next to them, but not with them. They're kind of laughing about something I said, and most of them are looking at me. So it clearly indicates, it clearly uses this attraction switch, leader of men. And leader of men is important because if men are following you, then women would follow you as well. So if you have anything like that, definitely use that. Another attraction switch, the second one is, and by the way, I don't know whether this sequence is exactly as Mystery posted them. You have to check that in his book. I didn't do it. The second one is protector of loved ones. So I like to post stuff with my brothers, with my sisters, because again, it shows me being with them. It shows me taking care of them or spending time with them. For example, I have a picture uh, at my sister's university graduation. It's a picture with me, my brother, and my sister. I sometimes, whenever I spend time, or not whenever, but sometimes when I spend time with my brother, with my sister, and brothers and sisters, I sometimes post stories about that. I don't make it posts, but I do post stories about that on my Instagram. So if you do spend time with your younger siblings, definitely it's worth showing the world that you're doing that, and it is one of the attraction switches. The third attraction switch is being pre-selected by other women. This might be counterintuitive. It basically means posting stuff with other girls. And it doesn't have to be clear that you're dating that girl. Be careful not to give an impression that you are in a relationship or that you are a lovey-dovey relationship type of person. If you look at my Instagram, you will see several posts with tied up girls, some bondage pictures. You will see uh, some pictures with me being in girls in general, and there is nothing that indicates who the girl is. Yes, I'm next to girls, yes, I'm hugging them, but no one knows who they are. No one knows whether they're a girlfriend, whether they're just a friend. No one has an idea. But if you post stuff like that, it is one of the attraction switches, and as counterintuitive as this seems, I do suggest posting stuff like that. If you follow me on Instagram, then you see that sometimes I post stories of me tying up other girls. And whenever I post a story with me tying up other girls, most of the replies to the stories are from other girls who are interested in bondage, interested in maybe being tied up. Some of the girls just are interested in bondage, maybe they're in relationships. We just exchange a few texts and that's it. Other girls are interested in bondage, have never done it. So if I see them as a potential lead, I will chat with them. I will not obviously chat about bondage, but I'll chat about something, and I will try to get them out on a date and try to get some new lays. A little warning is obviously don't be one of those guys who takes pictures with hot bartenders or Hooters waitresses or anything stupid like that. When you do stuff like that where you are obviously taking pictures just because she's hot, it basically means you have so few hot girls in your life that whenever you see a hot girl, you have to take a picture with her because, oh my god, she is so hot, so special. You're actually doing the opposite. You're showing that you don't have any hot girls in your life. And don't be one of those guys who, as soon as you get next to girls, you try to take selfies with them. I don't do that. I actually, most of the pictures I take with girls, I don't think I've posted any pictures that are selfies with girls. I usually have someone else take a photo, or a nice little tip I got from a friend of mine is if you are taking a selfie with the girl, make sure girl is taking a selfie. You can see a picture like that on my Instagram where I'm with a very beautiful girl. We are taking a selfie. It is in Belgrade, Serbia, and she is the one holding the camera and taking the photo. And the next attraction switch is the ability to emote freely, ability to show emotions. Uh, if you have some pictures, if you're doing some activities where you seem really happy or are doing anything else like that, then boom, that's something you can use. Some examples from my Instagram, how I've used it is I had a picture where we were throwing ball and on the beach, and I'm just laughing in the picture, and boom, I posted the picture on Instagram. Don't post pictures where you have stupid fake smile, but if someone happens to catch a picture with you really genuinely smiling, being happy and emoting freely, then you can definitely use that picture. That's a nice thing to do. And the fifth attraction switch is successful risk taker. It's not just risk taker, it's successful risk taker. So if you are doing something crazier, then make sure to snap a pic and you can use it. I have a picture on my Instagram where I'm sitting on the edge of a cliff and it's high as fuck. And in general, I love heights, so I do take photos like that. And I really enjoy heights. I don't know why, but I love getting somewhere high and sitting on the edge and just yeah, just being there. So whether that's, I don't know, skydiving, being in high places, or anything else that suggests that you are successfully taking risks, boom, use that to your advantage. So these are 5 attraction switches that you can use when you are thinking what to post on Instagram. The way you can use them is whenever you want to post something, you can just look at 5 attraction switches and think, okay, which attraction switches am I demonstrating here? And you can demonstrate a lot of them in one picture for sure. It's not just one switch per picture. And that's a nice little thing you can do. But I don't consider this really actionable. I don't think it helps anyone come up with good ideas for Instagram posts or Instagram stories. It's just a nice little way to make sure that what you're posting is good for the purposes of game and working and building kind of communication with your leads. The way I do it is I look at things that I like to do in my life. I build my Instagram around my personality. I just post stuff that I like in my everyday life. And I don't mean if I see something nice, I'll take a picture of it and post it. I don't do that. I don't think that's a good idea. You will understand later why, because there are some posts that get good responses and there are posts that get really shitty responses. So what I do is I build my Instagram around my personality. I just find ways to subtly demonstrate the best, most interesting parts of my life. And when you look for advice online how to build a great Instagram, and again, if you want to build great Instagram, look for that advice online. I don't know anything about it. I don't have many followers or anything like that. I only know how to use Instagram to work your existing day game leads. And I'm not even saying I know it very well. It's just the experience that I have doing it and the things that have helped me getting results. Whenever you look for advice on how to build good Instagram, one of the most typical things you will see is find a few things about your life that you want to be associated with, some 3 things that are big parts of your life. And in my Instagram, those 3 things are travel, because I travel a lot. I spent the last 6 months traveling around the world, going to different cities and coaching day game in Europe and in North America. So most of my Instagram posts, or a big part of them, especially lately, are from all over Europe and North America. The second thing is sex. Not just sex, but things like, for example, bondage pictures. You can see pictures with girls tied up. You can see a picture, like I said, there is a black and white picture with me holding ropes. And if you follow me and if you watch my stories, then you'll see that I sometimes post some pretty fucked up shit in my stories. Again, that might be some bondage pictures, or it might be some pretty hardcore jokes I've seen online about sex, and I just wanted to share with my friends. So you'll see stuff like that on my Instagram. So travel and sex. And the third one is a big part of my life, a big part of my thinking about life. And it's not something I can explain in a few words, but my idea about life is I do whatever the fuck I want. And it has two meanings. One, it's just as brutal as it sounds. It's basically fuck you, I do whatever I want. And the second is if I want something, I will go and I'll fucking get it done. It's about learning to commit to your goals and actually reach your goals. It's about living a great life, having a great lifestyle. So the third thing is kind of having a rich life outside of work, whether that's me in nature, whether that's me doing BJJ, whether it's me fishing for trout and salmon, just having an interesting lifestyle in general. It's things I fill up my free time with. So my three things: travel, sex, and having a fulfilled, interesting free time in your life. Mostly that is nature. But I have an extra thing that I post sometimes. I don't post it often, but whenever I get some pictures, then I actually do. It's I show that people listen to what I have to say. So if I'm giving a seminar somewhere, or if I'm interviewed somewhere on a show, I'll make sure to post some pictures from those events, just to show that I'm a public personality. I get invited to stuff. People know me, and that's a really great really great way to demonstrate high value. And when you are working on your Instagram or just thinking about what to post, you can sit down and you can think, okay, what are a few things that I do in my life? Maybe you are someone who is obsessed with the gym, obsessed in a good way. So boom, that's one thing. Maybe you are into, I don't know, into shooting. Boom, do that. Maybe you are into, I don't know, like skydiving every week or kite surfing or traveling. Find three things that are a big part of your life and just demonstrate them on Instagram. Okay, now that you know what types of posts to show on Instagram, types of posts and types of stories, let's start talking about how to do it, what to post as stories, what to post as posts. I'll share a few tips that I found to work really good for myself. I'll tell you how to get pictures for Instagram, and whether you should post polite stuff or be more open about what it is you really like in your life. And we will end this podcast with a very simple question: is it worth working on your Instagram presence to improve your success with your leads? Let's start with what to post as a story and what to post as a post. Well, I look at it very simply. I post my best stuff as a post. If it's really good, I will use it as an Instagram post. And I post my everyday stuff, like day-to-day interesting events, as stories. But I think that quality is much more important than quantity. If you want to post stupid shit like what did you eat today, or you want to post the same workout picture every day, trust me, no one gives a fuck about it. Most people think it's boring, and that's it. So don't post the same stuff every day. Quality is more important than quantity. That being said, I still try to post in my stories, well, not every day, but I try to post most days. Sometimes I'll post nothing for a few days and then I'll have 5 stories in one day. It really depends on what's going on in my life and how much time I actually have to post something on my Instagram. So if you were in a really nice, in an interesting place in nature and you want to show it on your Instagram, and you have a nice picture of yourself looking really, really good and showing, demonstrating some of the, rather using some of the attraction switches, great, use it as an Instagram post. If you went to a park and you saw a dog on a skateboard and it's not you, it's a dog, it's funny, it's nice, it's good, use it as a story. Don't make it an Instagram post, because it doesn't show much about yourself. It just shows a fucking dog. It's a nice little thing you saw, but it's not that interesting. It's not the most interesting thing that people could look at. So good pictures with yourself are good posts, and everyday random stuff you see something interesting and that still uses some attraction switches are good for stories. The more stories you do, the better you will start noticing what stories get responses from girls, what posts as well get responses, and if you're using apps to show who unfollowed you, then you will sometimes learn which stuff gets people unfollowing you. So be careful with that. Don't post anything too extreme. Don't post your political views, because no one really gives a fuck about your political views apart from you. So don't do that. Don't post crazy anti-feminism stuff or anything like that. That will put girls off and just get people unfollow you. That's not a good way to get laid with your Instagram leads. Another thing that you maybe have heard as a joke is when a girl posts a picture and she doesn't get a certain number of likes on the post, she takes it down. It's actually something I do as well. If I post a picture and it gets zero reaction, obviously I was wrong. It wasn't that interesting picture. People didn't find it engaging, emotionally engaging enough. And yeah, I will actually take it down. And remember, it is all about emotions. If you spark emotions, you will get reactions from girls. So that's what you want. You want to spark emotions. You want people to react to it emotionally. It doesn't have to be something logical. And one more way you can spark emotions is if you look at my Instagram, you'll see that under some pictures, I have a longer story behind the picture about something I'm changing in my life or something like that. Stuff like that actually works pretty good. So you can experiment with that as well. I have 4 tips that I could give to guys who want to improve their Instagram, to work their leads, and to get some more dates from existing leads. Number 1 is that, and this is just from my experience, this is what I've learned works better for me. And one is pictures with me in them work better. So don't post stuff of the nature or anything you see. No one gives a fuck about that. No one gives a fuck about a beautiful street you saw in Prague or I don't know. So don't post that. If it's you in the picture, yes, that will get better reactions. So that's number 1. Pictures with me work better in them. Second one, quality matters. Don't take shitty photos. If you have a shitty old phone where photo quality is crap, then have a friend help you. And if your friend has a good camera that makes good quality photos, either it's on the phone or a real camera, use that one. Don't use your phone. So quality matters. Take good photos. You can use free apps. Lightroom is a free app you can use to work on your pictures, to improve them. And Instagram filters let you do a lot as well, actually. Third one is, and it's a really nice one actually, find a few poses you look good in. Maybe it's a way that your head that you hold your head. Maybe it's some direction you're looking at, or anything else. Find a few poses that you look good in and use them. Reuse them all the time. And tip number 4 is really nice for actually getting the photos, because you need someone who can take a decent photo to have it. And there are 2 solutions to this. Have a photo buddy, some other maybe daygamer or someone else who's working on their Instagram, preferably a daygamer, so that you don't start talking about nonsense like sending girls DMs and doing anything like that, which is nothing bad if you're a good enough looking dude and have good enough Instagram. You can probably do that, but I don't know anything about it and I'm not even interested in learning anything about it. So have someone else who is also interested in Instagram take your photos. You can take photos of him, he can take photos of you, and you can be each other's photo buddies. Or have some girls take photos of you. Girls are generally pretty good at taking Instagram photos. So instead of you taking a photo, have a girl take a photo. I've several photos on my Instagram that were taken by girls that I'm seeing, by girls that I was dating, and those pictures got some pretty decent reactions. And those were my 4 tips on what works better for Instagram pictures. And next, I want to talk about political correctness of the stuff you post on Instagram. If you look at my Instagram, then it's yeah, bondage and other fun things, sometimes in parties. And if you are, as you've heard in other podcasts, I always talk, or I talk a lot about showing your true nature and doing what you want instead of what you should do, and not being afraid to pursue in your life things that you really, really like. Maybe it's day game, maybe it's threesomes, maybe it's BDSM, whatever, just going and doing those things. Sometimes things that you do in your life you might be afraid to put them on Instagram because they might offend some people. You might have 20 people unfollow you. Okay, maybe not 20, but you could have some people unfollow you, or some people might send you a picture, might send you a response asking, what the fuck is this shit? Are you fucking dumb? I've actually had that case. I posted one picture. I didn't realize what it looked like. I was visiting a regular and I said, oh, it's fucking cold, I want to buy a winter hat. And she gave me an amazing hat that she had at her place. It was she bought it for herself, didn't wear it, she gave it to me. It was fucking amazing. And I'm sitting pretty drunk with no shirt on and this hat on my head, and her head is in my lap, and I take a selfie. I posted on Instagram and several people send me messages, what the fuck, dude, this is too much, what the fuck? And I didn't see what was wrong with it. And then I realized it's a selfie of me laying back on a sofa and girls, just top of the girl's head visible on the level of my crotch. So it basically looks like a girl was giving me a blowjob and I took a selfie and posted it on Instagram. So I've done stupid shit like that, and it was a total accident. She wasn't giving me a blowjob. I just didn't notice stuff. What I'm saying is, yes, that might be too much, but if you are interested in bondage and you're experimenting with it, can you post a picture with a tied up girl on Instagram? Unless you work in a government or some company where it's very, very strict what you can and cannot post, yeah, of course you can post that shit. I post shit like that all the times. I have day game friends who work in very serious companies, and in their business, the employer could never know that. Even though I really think day game is an okay thing to do, but sometimes society doesn't think like that, and I know that their employer shouldn't know that they're involved with day game as seriously as they are. But even then, they're posting bondage pictures on their Instagram. Or maybe you went to Canada and or Amsterdam and you finally smoked your first joint, which you wanted to do for a long time. And can you post it on Instagram? Why the fuck not? If you are in a place where it's legal, then why wouldn't you post it on Instagram? So if you are worried about what people will think, what will get them offended, then I have a nice question to you. Would you rather have 100 people not give a fuck about you, like they would be neutral about you, They wouldn't be excited and they wouldn't hate you. They would be neutral about you. Or would you rather have 50 people that think you are stupid and are not interested to have anything to do with you, plus 50 people who think you're fucking amazing and they wanna connect with you? And that's something to think about. The more stuff I post on Instagram and the more open I become about what I like in life, and it doesn't have to be bondage pictures, it can be anything. It can be leaving your job and traveling around the world, or starting a business, or whatever you want. The more I post that, the more I see how I lose some people that were I didn't even, they weren't friends, they were like very weak, like acquaintances that I barely knew. They kind of unfollow me after a while, but then I build connections and relationships with other people that live interesting lives. So what I notice is a lot of people that get offended by the stuff I post, most of them are actually pretty boring people and they don't live that interesting lives. Not all of them, like 50% of them. But other people that live really interesting lives, that are doing what they want in their life, it might be connected to what I'm doing, it might be related to what I'm doing, it might be something similar, or it might be something completely different. But they are living interesting lives, they're pursuing their dreams, they're pursuing their passions. I build better connections with them when they see that I'm actually living an interesting life, I'm doing what I want, and I'm pursuing my passions. So Instagram not only helps you work your leads, but it helps you build connections with other interesting people. If you are worried about whether you should or shouldn't post something on Instagram, what I can suggest you is you can post it and see how people react, and maybe it will help build a more interesting social circle. It will help you work your leads. And if you really, really like something in your life, if you're really passionate about it, what does it say about you if you have to find the real you from the world? I think posting what you want and what is part of your life is actually, it shows you have good frame. Why are you hiding the real you from the world? Are you insecure about what others will think? Well, what does that say about your value? You're only high value if other people think that you are high value. I don't think that's a good kind of position to have in life. I post whatever I want. If anyone doesn't like it, they can unfollow me, they can not talk to me ever again. That's part of my life. And actually having a strong frame and doing whatever the fuck you want is what brings you closer to amazing people, and it shows you have strong frame, and most importantly, it brings you closer to getting lays with those amazing hotties you have as leads. Okay, enough about what to post, and let's go over some questions that were sent in to my email. Before recording this podcast, I posted in our Daygame Church group chat that I will be doing this and that people can send in questions via email. And I got several questions. One is, what should not be included in the posts? Well, if it's boring, like what you had for lunch, or if it's every day you going to the gym, or it's repetitive, or just really boring, if it's stuff no one normally gives a fuck, then you shouldn't post it. If it's not something you would send as a ping to a girl, or something you would send to your friend for whatever reason, don't share it as a story or a post. If your friends don't care or your leads don't care, if you wouldn't send it as a ping, then why would your Instagram followers care? Don't do it. Another question is how to keep it minimalistic. How to, if I'm understanding this question correctly, it's how to post as little as possible. And I think if you're not interested in having an Instagram account and keeping up with your acquaintances and friends via Instagram, then don't do it just to work your leads. Just text with your leads. Instagram is worth doing if you are enjoying doing it. So how to keep it minimalistic? If you have to keep it minimalistic and you don't want to spend your time on it, then just don't do it, and that's it. Um, the next question, how far should or can you go in terms of posting sexual jokes and in stories or your Instagram posts? If it's what you want to post, then post it. Why not? I don't see anything bad if that's what you want to show the world about yourself. Again, why am I doing this? Because 4 things that I post on Instagram were travel, sex, my lifestyle and my free time, and me being leader of men. So sex is part of my Instagram framework yeah. So if you want it to be part of your Instagram, if how people view you through Instagram, then post it. You can look in my feed or in my stories, and I've posted tied up girls. I posted some really retarded jokes that I've seen online. Remember, there was this 10-year challenge where people posted pictures from 10 years ago. I posted a picture with, on the left, there is a young girl, and her father is kind of pulling her hair like as a punishment. And then this is before, and 10 years later is a clear picture with a girl being fucked doggy style and someone is pulling her ponytail. So that's a hilarious 10-year challenge where 10 years ago it was a punishment because she did something bad. Now someone is just banging her doggy style and pulling her hair. It's crazy sexual, but it was hilarious. Another funny but very sexual story I had in my Instagram is from a very well-known porn actor. I think his name was Johnny Sins, but I might be wrong. And it's a picture with him and 2 girls whose mascara is running down their faces. And obviously he has just fucked them really hard, probably throat fucked them. And he's standing with 2 girls and they're only being shown from shoulders up and they're all smiling, and the picture says father reunited with his daughters after 18 year on their 18th birthday, so he hasn't seen them. Obviously the picture is actually something else. It's a crazy sexual story, but I post shit like that. Should you? Only if you want sex to be part of what you post on Instagram. If that's not a big part of your life, if you're not into bondage or BDSM or anything else, then don't post it on Instagram. Don't try to fake it or show something that isn't part of your life. Instead, find 3 things that are a big part of your life and demonstrate those on the Instagram. And the last question is, what do you do if your life consists mostly of work and you aren't a crazy party person? This is a decent question, and it's a pretty deep question actually. First of all, you don't have to be a crazy party person to be an interesting guy to girls. That's a complete myth. It's not true at all. If you look at mysteries, switches of attraction, there is nothing about being a crazy, flashy party guy. You don't have to be that. But again, you can think about what other things are you doing in your life apart from your work. What 3 things do you want to show about yourself on your Instagram profile? What do you have going on in your life apart from work? And well, the sad reality is, if the only thing you have going on in your life is your work and there is nothing else you could show on your Instagram, I would suggest not setting up an Instagram account and actually thinking about what it is that you want to do in your life to make it more interesting. If you only work, if you're happy with it, well, whatever, but I don't have friends around me who only work and don't do anything else. In my opinion, that's a really, really boring life. I do not hang around with people like that. So if the only thing you have going on in your life is work, then, well, start living a more interesting life. think about what could you start doing. Maybe there are some hobbies you want to take on, maybe there's something you want to learn. This is what I actually recently did. While most of people are spending their time at home because of what's going on, a lot of people are bored. Yes, I work a few hours a day. In the mornings I get stuff done for my business, but the rest of the day is pretty much free, so I have to keep myself occupied. I'm not someone who can spend all my time on Netflix. I just don't like it. I like to be productive, at least to a certain level. So what I did is I opened the note and I thought, okay, what it is that I want to learn right now. And I wrote down things. I want to learn bondage. I've been interested in it for a long time. That's number one. Second, I want to learn to take nice pictures with tied up girls. I want to learn Spanish. And I want to learn to hunt. I want to learn to shoot a gun good enough to get a hunting license. So if your life consists mostly of work, sit down and think what it is you want to do in your life, what it is you want to learn, and start learning those things instead of working on your Instagram. If there is actually something else in your life outside of work, whatever it is, you can probably make it one of the three things that you show about your life on Instagram. I want to end this podcast with a question. Is it worth it? Is it worth having an Instagram account, posting stuff there, building Instagram presence, staying connected with your friends via Instagram? If you are only doing it to get laid, then I actually don't think it's worth it, because it's not effective. It's not as effective. Yes, posting interesting stuff does get you conversations with girls. It does help you re-engage with girls that have disappeared from the radar. It does help to re-engage with old regulars, or to if you're seeing girls in other countries, it helps kind of be connected with them, and then see them when you go there, or when you meet in another country. Yes, it's good for all of that, and you do get laid from it, but is it a good main strategy to have to get laid? No, I do not think it is. I think day game is just amazing, and you should focus on your day game skills. If you are at home and you cannot go out day game, then yes, you can set up an Instagram, but only if you want to do it for the sake of having an Instagram and it's something you're interested in. But if you're doing it just to get laid and you have zero interest in it, I don't think it's really worth it. I would not suggest it. I do Instagram because I like it. I like to see what my friends are up to, and I only follow people that I care about. Most of the people's stories I have muted, because if anyone, even my friends, if they post 10 stories a day, I'll most probably mute them and not look at their stories at all. But I like Instagram. I spend a bit of time there. It's just a part of my everyday life, and I can tweak it so it works for game. But if you aren't on Instagram and you don't give a fuck, then don't waste your time, and instead go and live a more interesting life. Think, what is it that I want to learn? Maybe you want to learn a new language, maybe you want to learn bondage, maybe whatever else. So spend your time on that instead of setting up on Instagram if you're not really interested in it. But one really, really big thing that Instagram gave to my life, I was thinking, when I wanted to work on my Instagram, I had a short phase where I really wanted to work on my Instagram. It lasted a few days, and that's it. I decided it's not for me. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it. I realized I don't have stuff to post on Instagram. I didn't have enough interesting things happening in my life to have enough stories to even post one story a day. So I thought, wait, that basically means that my day-to-day life is pretty boring. So what I started doing, I started adjusting my lifestyle so I would have more interesting stuff in my life. So I would have much more interesting lifestyle. I would have interesting enough lifestyle so that I could post one story a day. And this small thing changed a lot in my lifestyle, seriously. I started doing more interesting stuff. I started, instead of working in my apartment, I went out to work in a park, I went out to work in a cafe. I did more interesting stuff because I realized my life is pretty boring. So, if you are interested in improving your Instagram game with your existing leads, I hope this podcast was helpful and that you will put these tips to good use and you will build maybe a more interesting lifestyle. So, thanks for listening. Other than that, one big important thing that I have to tell, as you probably know, I am building an online course platform for learning day game that will have several online courses. It will have 2 courses on dating and 2 courses on texting, and then later on it will have more courses. In the beginning, it will be a completely free platform where people will be able to join and learn the best stuff that I've learned about day game and the stuff that I'm teaching my students. And the one announcement I want to make today is that that platform will be launched, I hope, in the next month by the end of April. So if you want to know more about that and if you want to be sure you don't miss it, then make sure you are on my mailing list. Go to strobert.blog, strobert.blog, and fill a form there to join my mailing list, and you will be one of the first people to get the invitation to join the site, because in the beginning it will mostly be open to my subscribers and to guys in our Day Game Church Telegram group chat. So if you want to be one of the first ones to join, go to my website, sign up for the mailing list. And if there are any more questions you want to ask or anything else you want me to cover in this podcast, then join our Day Game Church Telegram group chat, where we have over 160 guys from all over the world, and ask me any questions you have there. Make sure to tag me in the question, because I sometimes miss some stuff that's going on in the chat. With that being said, thank you for listening, and go and work on your Instagram profile. And as I said before, if you want to see examples of what I post on Instagram, you can go check out my Instagram profile and give me a follow there. Bye.